Let's talk more now about this. Data consultant Babajide Ogunsanwo joins us now on the News at 10. Babajide, pleasure having you here again.
Good evening.
So all the elections are finally over. All eyes now on the leadership of the National Assembly. What are your expectations for the days ahead?
First of all, permit me to say Happy Mother's Day, if I may.
Thank you.
And, we should ask ourselves that, is there any link between Mother's Day and politics? And here's what you find out. The world has been celebrating Mother's Day for over a century right now. And even though countries celebrate this day on several days, there is peace. And so whatever the outcome of elections, just like Mother's Day, some countries will be celebrating it next month. Some will be celebrating it in May, but there is peace. So whatever the results we see, what is guaranteed is we must all work towards peace. And even though we've seen the results of 28 out of 29 states, the results of Rivers State is still somewhere quiet. But here's why I have confidence. Let's listen to what the governor says. He's provided a solution to some of the crises facing the state. His solution is that security agencies should not interfere in the results. One of the other candidates as well, Dumoludu Briggs, says that even though peace does not always work, violence never works. So whenever the results start coming in for River State, what we'll expect is, just like Mother's Day has different dates, we all have to remain peaceful. But again, let's look at the results of the supplementary elections. We've seen 28 states. 15 of those states have gone to the APC. 13 of those states have gone to the PDP. And my expectations is that just as a lot of lobbying will influence the results of the elections of the National Assembly leadership, there's going to be a lot of other factors that will influence what happens on the floor of the Senate and the House of Reps.
But all roads should lead to peace at the end of the day.
All roads should definitely lead to peace, just as the leading players in Rivers have said. But let's now focus on what will happen in the days ahead, the leadership of the National Assembly. And I have an acronym for what I think will happen. I call it LIE. First is L, lobbying. So we've seen lobbying already visible from the declaration for the seat of the House of Reps, the Speaker of the House of Reps, as well as other positions, and also what will be happening in the Senate. The first will be a lot of lobbying. The second will be a lot of the influence of the governors. And if we were to look at the map today, based on the results we've seen in terms of where do we have more of the APC governors, the map shows 13 out of APC's 15 governors that won in this election, governorship seats, were in the north. So again, what will happen, and the choice of leadership at the National Assembly, both at the upper house and lower house, will also be influenced by the governors that won the election. Again, we've got 13 governors that won elections from the north and only 2 from the south. But finally, what I think will perhaps play the biggest role will be experience. Again, first lobbying, second, the influence of governors, and the third, experience. Now, by experience, if you look at, let's just talk about the Senate. We've got only 6 senators that have been in the 2007 Senate, 2011, 2015, now 2019. Only 6 senators. The interesting thing, the rest are new. Only 6 senators have consistently been in the House since 2007. The trouble is, 4 out of those senators are in the PDP. The good news for the APC is 2 out of those 6 senators are in the APC. So when we're looking at the leadership of the Senate, even though we can't clearly determine who it will be, what we know is they've got 2 senators, Senator Ahmed Lawan from Yobe State and Senator Kabiru Gaya from Kano State. Those are the only 2 senators the APC have that have the most experience. They've been in the House since 2007. So we should keep our eyes on what sort of lobbying they'll be doing and how the influence of the zones they come from will play a role in who becomes the leader of the 9th Assembly.
So the leader should be elected based on what? Zoning or merit?
I think it should be a combination of both, Amarchi. And that's because as human beings, we've got our rational side and we've got our emotional side. Our rational side speaks to leaders should be chosen based on merit. Our emotional side would complain if leaders aren't chosen based on some balance of zoning. And so while we expect that, yes, lobbying, the influence of governors' eye, and experience of the elected members will play a role, we also expect that it will also be a combination of merits and zoning. But what is even more interesting is in the days ahead, there are going to be non-elective positions that the president will have to determine who will lead. Those shouldn't be based on election. We should keep an eye on the choice the president will make, especially when we're looking at the service chiefs, the chief of defense staff, the chief of army staff, the chief of naval staff, and Air Force. And those are positions that wouldn't be based on election, but the president will also have a choice to make between merit and zone. So
a little bit of both.
A little bit of both, but more than ever before, again, it's Mother's Day. The question that we should go away with tonight is, are we murdering our democracy, or are we murdering our democracy? And if all leaders think about that carefully, and we should ask them, why do you want to lead the National Assembly? Why do you want to be the Speaker? Is it about your ambition, or is it about helping other Nigerians, especially the common man, to achieve his ambition? Again, don't forget, tonight is the night where we should think about, being Mother's Day, are we murdering our democracy, or are we murdering our democracy? But the days ahead are going to be interesting, Amarachi.
You've given us a lot to think about, Babajide. Thanks again for joining us on the News at 10.
For me, the pleasure is always mine.